Speaking of linebackers, when you played, whether it was in the NFC East or across the league, is there one defensive player when you broke a tackle of his or juked him or whatever that you were like, oh yeah, I got the best out of him? Because there are a lot of good ones in the NFC East, but anyone across the league. If there's anyone like when you ran him over, who was it?
Well, breaking Ed Reed's tackle was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, outside the NFC East, I would have to say Ed. I gotta say Ed Reed, like breaking a tackle of his, that was pretty good for me. But the greatest competitor I've ever competed against, the greatest competitor I've ever competed against was Brian Dawkins.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. I didn't say he was the best player. I said he was the greatest competitor. That's a big difference. He's going to be there in the end. He's going to emotionally lead his team there. He's going to physically put his body on the line for his team. And he's going to be there, like, in the end. Did he have better safeties than Dawkins? Probably so. But they didn't have no better safeties than Dawkins playing the run. He might have been able to cover a little bit better than Dawkins, but as far as coming down and playing the run, the boy was there. It was the greatest competitor I faced. Easy.
As everybody knows, we are talking to Giants two-time Super Bowl champion running back Brandon Jacobs. When you won your first Super Bowl in 2007, and really the way you did it, and I remember, if I haven't mistaken, if you remember it as much as I do, that was the year that you played the Jets in 2007. It was at, I think it was Christmas Eve. It was, and
I think that was the second.
Oh, it was the second one. I'm sorry, the 2011.
Yeah, that was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that was the Super Bowl.
So I'm sorry. So 2011, I was at that game, and the Jets were playing pretty good football, and I remember that Victor Cruz touchdown that really changed the game, really changed the emotion of the game. And then all of a sudden, after that game, the Giants started playing good football. They got into, I think they played the Patriots the final game, and then you guys got into the playoffs and completely dominated from one game to the next game to the next game. What were your thoughts that year when you beat the Jets? At Christmas Eve, was that the game that really changed everything for you guys?
Maybe so. Yeah, because we had so much surrounding that game. We had the takeover New York. We had that, and then we had they're taking all our accomplishments down off the wall because it was actually their home game. But they didn't know their lease was up that game, so. They had to pay the lease, and I don't think they made the payment, so we kicked them out the stadium. But they tried to cover up our Super Bowls, and it was actually our locker room on our side. It had nothing to do with them even seeing the trophies and the Super Bowl stuff up there. Nothing to do with them. They were just being assholes and trying to really abuse their authority because it was their home game. But we politely took their little curtain down and politely laid it on the ground and went out there and kicked their ass.
So thank you, Brandon. Thank you. I'm a Jet fan, so you make me feel so much more happier having you on the show. I love you, man.
Well, you guys won the NFC Championship game like the year before that. So
I do. Listen, Brandon, I would agree with you because I remember that game. I was at that game, and I remember what the Jets were bragging about. And if you're gonna, and I've said this to Rex Ryan. I've talked to Rex Ryan about that game, and I said if you're gonna do the things that you did before the game, you either put up or shut up. And the Giants pretty much laid the smack down on you, and he admitted it. He said it. He's especially in the second half, he was outcoached by Tom Coughlin. And that's why Tom Coughlin, in his words, is one of the greatest coaches of all time because the guy, Rex Ryan, one of the best defensive minds of all time. People say it to this day. But Tom Coughlin always had the best of Rex, always. And he said it. Tom Coughlin was just that much smarter than he was.
Tom Coughlin will have you prepared to fight a war. Tom, if the NFL was fought with guns and hand grenades, the Giants would be undefeated. And that man will have you ready, and he always has some highly ranked military guy come talk to us every week. Every other week, you have a guy in there that has been on the front line or something in the military to tell us about their story and how football compares to fighting and supporting one another. And it was just great that he always had those kind of people around. Like, the guy had us prepared to play football. I can't lie about that. Great. He had us super prepared, and he made sure we knew everything about our opponent.
So I know last time we had you on the show, you were talking about the running back, the stories with that. How about a teammate that's maybe more under the radar too? Any good stories with any of those teammates on either one of the championship teams?
Under the radar?
Yeah, maybe a player that was lesser known to fans.
That was a big deal to the team. Deion Grant.
Okay.
Wow.
Deion Grant was in the second Super Bowl. He was a tremendous leader on the defense, tremendous leader for our team. He was in the league. He was going on year 11 at that point. He was on year 11 at that point. So I think Deion Grant is really one of the guys that really helped us win just the Super Bowl. He played in Seattle. I think he went to the Seattle. Mm-hmm. I think he went to the Super Bowl with Seattle. I'm not sure if they won or not.
They lost to the Steelers. Yeah.
So he hadn't won one yet. But coming on with us and being a leader, I think he's one of the guys on there that I like to give credit to on one of the most on one of the reasons why we actually pulled it out defensively. He was there for us.
As everybody knows, we are talking to Giants two-time Super Bowl champion running back Brandon Jacobs. Brandon, one of the fans asked me to ask you this question. How many fights did his team get into when he played for Coffeyville? And does he still hate Garden City?
I can't stand Garden City, and we used to get in a fight all the time. But a lot of people don't understand about junior college. When I went to junior, it was a lot of at-risk kids. You got at-risk kids going to one school and competing for a spot, 12 out-of-state spots on a team of 55. Right, so you get all these kids coming from these different hoods that just wasn't eligible to go to Division I, or was just bad as hell. Like, that's really what it was. I can't stand Garden City, and when you played, it's the same thing. You got a bunch of at-risk kids that's out there playing against each other, and big fight break out every week. But I can't stand Garden City. Their mascot was the Bronco Busters. What the hell is a Bronco Buster?
We've seen a lot now with Eli Manning more off the field than we did with the Manning cast this year on the Monday Night Football. Have you heard any of that? And if so, what does that show about his personality? And do you have anything about his personality that maybe a lot of fans wouldn't know?
Man, I'm glad they ended up giving him that show, and I'm glad Eli ended up accepting it because people could really see his real personality. Like that's Eli's personality. That's it. He's a jokester. He's gonna prank you. He's gonna do stuff like that. He's just not this real loud and obnoxious guy. It's just not him. Like, that was me. So it just wasn't him. So I'm actually glad they had the opportunity to do that show so people could really see his real personality, what we saw in the locker room every day.
Brandon, your son in 2025 he took the offer from K-State. Obviously, he's, trying to be what his father was, a successful college football player, and then obviously an NFL player. Tell us a little bit about your son. What type of player is he?
Well, Braden is a big old young man, should I say. He's 6'6", about 310, 312, something like that. He's 15 years old, plays right tackle. He's really good at it. He's one of the top tackles in the country. Just supporting him, man. Like, whatever it is he want to do. He has 18 Division I offers right now. So, I mean, he has the sky's the limit for him. He's a great kid. The way he is, like, if you meet him, you would never think that he's that guy. You would never think that he's goddamn mauling people. Would never think. He's a big, nice kid, man. I love him to death. The kid's going to be special. It's going to be really special. So I'm just here to support him on whatever it is he does and wherever he wants to go to school. I just want it to be somewhere decent where the coaches are great and the coaches are going to be there. That's it. That's the only thing.
You should show him some tape of your teammate, Kareem McKenzie. That'll help him out.
Big peach.
Just remember who Kareem McKenzie was drafted by, okay?
Let's remember who he succeeded with.
So wasn't Kareem drafted by the Jets?
That's right, he was.
And let's remember where he succeeded.
Wow, so he just walked from, I guess it was, Long Island at that point, or what the Jets was? practice at then?
Well, it was New Jersey because they played in the same stadium as you.
No, I know that, but I'm saying at that time the Jets didn't have the facility in Florham Park.
Yes,
did they?
Yes, no, they didn't.
So he just came on right from over there and became an instant winner. Look at that.
There you go.
All right, Brandon, stop it. Stop slicing it,
Instant
Dyson.
winner.
My New York Jets. I'm tired of this. We get Giants on this show all the time, and they like just slipping it in. They know I'm a Jet fan. Everybody knows I'm a Jet fan. So every single Giant we've had on this show, every one of them, they like to crack jokes. They like, you know what? I'm going to throw you a curveball, Mr. Marks. And why not? Brandon Jacobs throwing another one. Oh, he lived in Long Island.
So let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, hit me.
So what was it like growing up, liking the Jets, and never, ever having an opportunity to cheer for them at the height of life?
You know, everybody asks me that question, and what made you want to be a Jet fan? And it's so funny that people ask me that. I was 6 years old, and I watched my first football game. I actually knew what football was. I was watching my first football game, and it was a Jet game, and I remember it very, very closely. I'm pretty sure they were playing the Houston Texans, I think it was. Or the Houston Oilers. I'm sorry. It was the Houston Oilers.
When you were a kid.
It was the Houston Oilers. And I remember that game, and the Jets won that game. And for some reason, I love the green and white. And all my friends growing up were all Giant fans. And for some reason, I just liked the underdog. It was always the Jets were the underdog every single year because they never won, and I just wanted to root for the underdog, and they've been the underdog ever since then. So people ask me, what was it like being a Jet fan when I never got to experience them even playing in a Super Bowl? It's not easy. It's not easy being a Jet fan, as anybody knows, but there is one thing. A Jet fan is a dedicated fan. They have always stuck by their teams. Nobody's going to turn on their team. They believe in their team. They're not Cowboy fans where they think every year is our year. We're just hoping one year will be our year. So it hasn't come, and hopefully one of these years we'll have the experience and the time to see the Jets make it to the Super Bowl and actually have a chance to win one.
How old are you?
I am 40 years old, my friend.
Okay, so we're the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting. Well, you ain't got much longer left.
Well, stop throwing that under the bus, man. I mean, we're not. First of all, Brandon, football players end their careers very, very early. Athletes you're a young man. You are a young man playing in a young man's game. So you're in great shape. Anybody that sees you, even on this foot, we see a bunch of people saying, "Wow, Brandon Jacobs is in great shape." Same thing with me. Age is just a number, not in sports, but age is just a number. It's how you take the next step in your life is what could change the path for everyone around you. And I think me being 40 years old, I feel better than I did when I was 30. So, yes, I'm 40 years old. I think I have a lot of years left. I think you have a lot of years left. I just think that as a Jet fan, you just wonder when that time is going to come. And hopefully with Joe Douglas there and with this coaching staff, with Robert Saleh and the guys that they have over there, one of these years we're going to see an opportunity where the Jets are going to be a contender for a Super Bowl championship. And I hope it's now. I know you're not a Jet fan, obviously.
No, I'm not.
But
I do think they got the nicest uniforms in the NFL, though.
Do you really? You like the Jets uniforms?
Like uniforms. However, being a Jet fan is like being on hospice. It's like the next thing you're gonna do is die. That's the next. Oh man, hey, we'll see. Now, I mean, I don't have anything. You know, they had a pretty good draft. They do.
You're funny, man.
I want to see what they do this year. I don't even think we play you this year.
No, next year.
No, next year.
It'll be next year.
Giants play the AFC South this year.
Yeah, it'll be next year. It'll be fun. And you know what, Brandon? I'll tell you what, Brandon. Next year, if the Jets and the Giants are compared to be good, I will take you and your son Braden on me to the Jets-Giants game. How's that sound?
That's definitely a deal.
Let's do it. I think it'll be fun. I think going with you and your son. Your son's probably twice the size of 3 times the size of me, but it'll be on me.
He's bigger than me.
He's bigger than you, but well, that's saying a lot.